Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Aquarius Rising Africa. Hope you've all had a wonderful weekend. And over here, it is wild. We've had crazy, crazy storms for the past week. I was without power for 4 days. Eventually, Friday night it came on. And again, this morning, it's gone off again. So I am here on hotspot with my phone. I have had no power since 9 o'clock this morning. Definitely won't be on until tomorrow because they're only a tree. That's the joy, I guess, of living in a beautiful forest area because the trees have fallen down onto the power lines and it's wreaking havoc, obviously, with our power grid. So I'm happy to be here. I'll be here afterwards with Guy Anderson as well, hopefully, if all goes well. But if not, I haven't disappeared. I am stressed out of my head right now, trying to figure out the next best move forward. But anyway, bear with me, please. Extreme weather conditions here. So without any further ado, I am going to just put up the schedule for this week. And then, of course, yes, now we have Miles Johnston. We haven't had him for 2 weeks, I think. So great to have you back, Miles, sitting in the back room waiting. And we're going to be talking about interdimensional connections. So let's see what Miles has to say about that. Then, of course, later on at 6 o'clock my time, which is 3 hours from now, Guy Anderson, we're going to be talking about human cloning. If you guys haven't caught any of his previous shows yet, please do. He's really an expert on Tartaria and the old world and the mud flood and stuff like that. So, wealth of information, Guy Anderson is. And then, God willing, tomorrow night I've got the beautiful Asia Rain back with me again. She was trafficked by the Mormon Church and is doing amazing work now with survivors from the church, especially. So join me tomorrow for a catch up with Asia. And of course, that would be if I have power. So if you don't see me, then it's because I don't have power. Same story Wednesday morning with Dr. York Prince on Solutions with Shanti, resident health expert. Please join me for his show. He really is a wealth of information, an ex-medical doctor who's working with anything natural right now and working in harmony with the body rather than declaring war on it. And then, of course, Jesse's away for the next couple of weeks. So we're going to be doing some reruns on the Wednesday. So catch Wednesday for a double rerun with Jesse. And then again in the field, the protection patterning series. If again power goes on, our power hopefully will be on by then. Right now, anything is possible. And then of course, Dr. Dennis Carroll, drop in with Shanti, and then Friday, Melissa Spears from the Seventh Day Adventist Church, and then of course Sunday Loop, where we do reruns from the past, especially interviews with the survivors that I've spoken to over the years. Shui. And on that note, welcome everybody. Nice to see you all. I know I should take a deep breath. I'm feeling stressed right now because of the power situation or the no power situation. But we'll get through it one little breath at a time. So without any further ado, Taram, Miles, thank you. Nice to
Oh,
see
for
you.
crying out loud, don't panic. For God's sake, don't panic. God almighty. God. No, don't panic. I told you not to panic. It's great when you
I'm
switch
more
on
worried.
and your microphone's on automatic, which means it sucks up all the background audio, and we had howl round and feedback and whistles and everything else. And it was all my fault. Anyway, I've
Well,
got
I'm very
this
happy once it wasn't my
blue
fault.
microphone, one of these things. These sort of come from Star Wars.
So cool. I
So
need one of those to chew on days like today.
It works if you got somebody else, so it's not so close. Don't have to be so close. Anyway. Yeah. So it's good to see you. And usual moving trees syndrome. I mean, people, crash cars into trees, But oh no, you've got your internet and power down. It's all down to the trees. It's the alien trees. It's the interdimensional trees. They just move in the night and just fall over the cables. Oh yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I am. How any of these trees around me in my garden haven't been, well, at least some of the branches, because some days they are flat. They are like there's a gust of winds and a gale force that comes.
Oh, a gust of wind. And the wind hasn't gusted before. This is Miles being really empathically sympathetic here.
No, I can see you're such an empath. You're such an empath.
Now I'm going to see if I can raise up my computer. Yeah. So it's been very busy here, and hopefully I won't disturb anything else other than my laptop, because and then it's a bit more easy to see you, but we're sort of dead on. You're dead on. You see, you're dead on now.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. We just had the Megalithomania conference here, run by Hugh Newman at Glastonbury at the weekend. Normally I'd provide facilities for these guys, but I didn't this time because just too busy, and the others are moot. We call it moot. Some people call it moot. Or is that just somebody not being able to say mute? There's a lot of people who can't say mute because they don't have whatever. But one of the things I'm doing for the conference, my next thing for me is the BASIS 2026 International Disclosure Conference instead of the 2025 International Disclosure Conference. We tried getting the mugs printed. We tried getting the T-shirts printed. But these are secret space program craft, allegedly. It's very important that nobody believes anything anybody says in this business, right? Because there are trolls out there. A lot of people only react to trolls that swear at you and call you rude names. The trick trolls, that's the thing, the trick trolls are the ones who agree with you empathically and emphatically, and they think you're really, really nice. You got to watch them, see what their back history is, and check, because that's one way they get into your defenses. So we're going to have on that's one technique. I'm just letting it's a general thing, and since I don't see you moving. Are you not meant to be sort of on a bicycle cycling some kind of little thing on the back wheel to sort of generate power or something? Sorry, I'm being really empathic, ladies and gentlemen. I'm being really sympathetic to the troubles, because if something like that happened here, that's it. One leaf falls on the line up in Lancashire or Yorkshire somewhere, and the entire rail network stops. Anyway, as I heard from a South African friend, you may enter the jungle in a Land Rover, but you come out in a Land Cruiser.
Uh-huh.
Is that the phrase? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what we're doing is
woodies, that's for sure. We're a breed of our own, yeah. So yeah.
Well, it's better than being a half breed of your own. Does that? That shouldn't have been said. Have I said the wrong thing there? I better be careful. This is a match. We'll see if it actually works.
What is? Oh my gosh!
That's a match. It's a stupidly big match.
I want one like that. That'll put me in a really good mood.
They come from Eddington. Eddington make matches. Where is it? Yeah. Get yourself an Eddington match. You can see how big it is. It's just one of my stupid things I get, being unfeasibly stupid, getting a fancy match, which means you can light something. But anyway, let's not. So what's happening is
I can see
we've had We've had a really busy week, a couple of weeks with the Conway Hall, and I'm not going to mention the book because it's dreadful. Actually, I will mention the book because if you could talk amongst yourselves for a second, I'm going to get the book. But this is a book where a great deal of effort has gone into it at this moment or alleged moment of disclosure. Just talk amongst yourselves for 2 seconds.
Well, apparently we must talk amongst ourselves for 2 seconds. There he's back.
God help you all. I hope what you were saying was worthwhile. Now, this has been pushed really heavily. This is an extremely well-produced book. It's extremely well written. Now, the clue to this is a movie. I don't know if anybody saw this movie with a couple of British guys. This is written by a guy in the UFO Heartlands. Now, this is a big deal. To have this pushed so hard and to have John Ralston, where is it? The Nick Pope's quoted on it, the late Nick Pope. The point about this is there's an awful lot of effort gone into this book. Copyright there and all that stuff. This goes through practically everything in the whole UFO community thing and all sorts of mind control, the rotating snake illusion thing. I mean, it's all sorts of stuff. This is a sort of a answer to all the things you can think of in the UFO alien thing. Now, Daniel LaVey, this is on the other side of the thing, and he looks nothing like that, right? This is a piss take. It's a complete send-up of the whole UFO thing, and it's actually really very vicious about it. This is my critique on this. It's got lots of very big names on it. It's got huge amount of notes at the back, illustrations. It's very, very, very... I mean, this is the end of the book. You can see that's the end bit of the book, right? And that's full of references and indexes and this thing per page. So it says, trust me at the end. I wouldn't trust this guy as far as I can throw him. He's one of these sarcastic, nasty pieces that dismiss people's genuine issues and genuine experiences and treats it all like some kind of silly thing. And mentioning Chump, I mean, this is chapter 1, rock and roll disclosure. There are lots of references. This book is extremely well produced. This is a hardback, and it's obvious when this guy was questioned. I'll see if I've got the pictures on it from the Conway Hall. That this has got an awful lot of budget behind it, and budget means psyop.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, let's just get this is it's Chasing Aliens, and that's John Ralston, who I appeared on his show in the 1990s. That's how old, mid-90s. The guy on the left, that's actually video. The guy holding the mic is John Ralston, and the guy with his fist on his face is the author. So let's see if there's anything else. Then that's Chasing Aliens. That's the title of all this. So this was produced last Friday at the very nice place in central London near Holborn, where there used to be an alien base there, just to add a few things. So there's an awful lot of budget on this. Now, when you have a number of people being murdered, a lot of stuff on David Wilcock, even Kimberly Gugan mentioned him. That's a lot of people being taken out. I know quite a few people who've been murdered. A my webmaster had a clot in the brain, and fortunately he was able to recover from it. And as that event was happening, Tina Bird, who I know has been on your show, she was in hospital with a similar kind of attack. So we're not messing about here. And these clever people laugh at all this. They are insidiously evil, nasty people. The little giggle, the little laugh, and they're slagging off all these people who've had genuine experiences. He does come up with a lot of, I mean, as I say, this was a book, this was a film, and they went across the States and interviewed lots of people and made a film about it. It was very funny. It was very well produced. Again, very well produced. A lot of effort. Slagging people off. That's not good enough. I'm giving people respect. I'll give people points of view. But when you've got these clever people taking the piss out of people who've had a really bad time, and a lot of them being killed for it, and just dismissing it. Oh, well, there's so many people die every year, they're just part of it. That's not good enough. So I would actually advise people to buy this book, because this kind of insidious propaganda, very well financed by somebody, very well put together, is very bad news, and you really do need to know about that. The ISBN number is 9780241744402-4. This is somebody making a lot of effort to completely scupper any kind of information coming out of the UFO files. They even played some of the UFO files information. And this gobshite dismisses pilots' radar imagery and radar data, and dismisses it that these people don't know what they're doing. Now, there were people in the audience which were given a chance to query this, but just dismissed the whole thing. This is when credible information, even the CIA, I'm going to say something nice about the CIA. Richard Doty just dismissed all these people that they're just, this is a gobshite with a big mouth, with money to produce this, and that's all I'm going to say about it. So, are we happy now, Chantal?
Well, I think it's important that you speak about stuff like that, because I really think at this point, Miles, there's a lot of confusion. For years and years, we've been warned about this fake alien invasion kind of thing.
And so that comes courtesy of Werner von Braun.
Right. So I think what I think is important for you to maybe touch on with us, if you can do that at all, is I have no doubt that there is other life forces out there, right? But I also have no doubt that NASA and these creatures of the night are creating a whole lot of havoc as well, duplicating things or creating fear and, perhaps creating a fake invasion in their ways. So how do we know what is real and what's not real? I mean, what do we actually look for?
Well, I think the first thing people have got to do, you got that X-Files poster, and I think I've got a distant relative on the Carter side who actually wrote that series way back in 1992, when we were airing it at Sky as it aired in the States, and practically nobody was watching Sky because it had just gone into startup. We only 18 months on the air, and we were running the X-Files. I mean, that was huge series. The main thing is, do not believe anything coming from these people. You can have people who've got genuine experiences, misinterpretations, accurate renditions of things, the whole thing, and the secret space program thing, and the Naftwaffen thing. There is hard evidence about that coming through, that the Germans did have access to stuff down in Antarctica, possibly a breakaway civilization and all that. There is British intelligence stuff being dumped on YouTube on this. I think I mentioned it the last time. Dear Stalker. It's German, and it's the Union Jack beside it, and it's a lot of very well put together AI imagery, and very well spoken historical narrative from certain historical observers. And that's all done by AI, so their voice is just done by AI. Because when somebody takes a breath at the start, and an hour and a half later they finish, and no breath in the middle, that's AI. But
right.
The point is that the Germans, I mean, as you've got Guy Anderson on later. Yeah.
Yes, he's coming on.
But the whole point is it's interesting that he was. I did some work for the wonderful Project Libertas people, and he spoke there. So I edited his talk there, and that went up on Project Libertas, and I've got it on basestv.com. The Russians have just announced about a week ago that they've decided to revise their history books to include Tartarian technology. So that's a big deal. See, all the Russians have to do is just speak the truth on something, and immediately the whole the European narrative and Western civilization narrative collapses. We were hijacked, our technology was hijacked round about the 1850s, 60s or whatever. The way that we produce electricity, all of that, the science behind that was hijacked. That's in the textbooks. Colonel Tom Bearden, wonderful guy, wrote a very, very thick, detailed book on energy from the vacuum. And the whole science as to how that was all gerrymandered with a thing called Maxwell's equations. That was to get rid of any talk of realities and energies outside 3D space. The only thing you're allowed to have is space-time. That's another bullshit from Einstein, where you have 3D plus time. Right? That's called space-time. That immediately narrows your perceptions to a very narrow physical reality. Even the fundamental equations of electrical science, in order to have power factor, a thing called power factor, which you can, your meter has a negative power factor. It'll underread your electrical units or overread. That's the science of multidimensional physics, in your face, in your pocket. You're paying for it, right? So what we're putting together for Basis 2026 at the 19th of June, 19th, 20th and 30th of 19th, 20th and 21st of June, right over the solstice, is we're going to have Mark Pilkington, who's delivered it. He's very straight-edged on things. He, for instance, doesn't believe that the Clintons have anything wrong or any issues involved with other things which other people would suggest about their moral character and fortitude. He thinks that's just all fandy-dandy. It didn't happen. Wow. It's just a psyop. But he's going to be on the Skeptics Friday night in the Bouverie Hall on the 19th of June. And then we're going to have hardcore long skull stuff with Maria Wheatley. And she's written a book and had a film made about the secret history of Stonehenge, on how that was made by long-skulled people who were since wiped out, and mass graves here in Salisbury Plain, just down the road from here. And they were laid in a long barrow, which is the longest in Britain. And they put this on energy lines, so their deaths and the way that they're dispatched empower or are used to empower or gather energy from the ley line system, which is why the British government, the army, have put a wire netting over the long barrow. Why do they want to nail an iron web netting over a long barrow? what could possibly be that all about?
Wow.
So, and there's 3 or 4 other ones which are in that area. So she'll be talking about that. And then we got this wonderful guy called Sean Bond, not Basildon Bond, not James Bond, but Sean Bond. And he's doing an awful lot of work in Mexico, and he's going to have relics or imagery or I'm not going to call them imitations, but he'll be bringing over some extremely interesting artwork in these long skulls. And these have got skulls not too long or not too different from the alien long skulls in the movie Alien. You know that nice guy in Alien?
Yes.
Just make sure you walk down and turn all the lights out as you walk down that thing. And if you hear a little scuttling or... it's okay. It's not the alien going to come and eat you, but the boogeyman. Right? So that's very interesting. And he's doing an awful lot of work, and he lives in Mexico, and he's going to bring his partner with him, and she's very delightful with an unpronounceable, very trendy name called Yssa, Y-S-S-A. So that's going to be a long skull day, and there'll be lots of other speakers talking on that as well. I won't go through the whole list. And then we've got Penny Bradley doing another heavy-duty Zoom from the States. You don't want to get Penny too uptight and annoyed. Not a good idea. Penny Bradley, for those who don't know her,
she's a wonderful guest, yeah.
And she's got a huge amount of stuff, and she's compiled something very specially for us. And then on the Sunday, we're going to have somebody you've probably heard of, some called Beverly Rhodes. Have you heard of her?
Have you found her?
Yeah, so she's in the States, so she'll be on Zoom as well. And we're going to have absolutely fantastic Laura Eisenhower. And she's going to talk about the mechanics of how the Germans had Warp 1 technology in the 1920s. Right? So that's hardcore, because her relative, obviously, is the great General Eisenhower, former president. And this is going to be pretty hardcore. Now, the thing that we're going to have is a group of contactees in England who had very long experience, over 10 years of experience with interdimensional greys. And they had those experiences around Avebury. So anybody who knows where Avebury is, got a twin stone circles within a larger circle, and it's got a replicant of it on Mars, or maybe in the Cydonia region, maybe the one we have on Earth is a replicant of what was on Mars. And there's another spokesman called Raft, not a spokesman. I did several interviews with him. He published a new book and a second book on the artifacts on Mars, and the similarities. There's a similarity or a similar artifact on Earth. If you pick something on Mars, you're going to find the same thing here on Earth. So he's done a whole lot of work on that. And but the point about it is that these guys are going to talk on stage about their experiences. Now, the Birmingham UFO group did a very detailed report on this, and if you go to the Birmingham UFO group website, BUFOG website, the reports are in that website, and it was Dave Hodrian who did the investigation, came the whole way down from Birmingham to talk to these guys. The point is, when they started having their early experiences, they'd camp out right opposite West Kennet Long Barrow. So you got West Kennet Long Barrow, they're on a big hill. Behind them, to the north, is Avebury. In front of them, to the south, is West Kennet Long Barrow. And to the immediate west is Silbury Hill. Now, Silbury Hill is the largest man-made hill in Europe, but it's a layered multi-frequency transmission device, very like an orgone bubble.
Yeah.
That's people used to make those pyramids or little cupcake things using metal filings, and then they stuck crystals in them and got a bit more. A lot of the pretty ones are just good paperweights, but with the advancement of the higher frequencies being used in the today's world, those things have to use finer and finer components. So you're dealing with very fine iron oxide particles, very fine particles of cement, crystal, and then put crystals in them. And I've actually got one here, which we made with Mike Emery a couple of years ago. It's an organic bubble, because you can't use the word orgone energy, because the United States Energy Commission has banned it. Banned? Can't say that.
Organite energy.
No, organite is a trade name copyrighted by some person. It's not organite, it's orgone, using orgone energy transmission and accumulation. That goes back to Wilhelm Reich, right?
Right.
Wilhelm Reich as opposed to Royal Reich. Two different people.
Right.
So, but in the era, and they destroyed Wilhelm, he was arrested for using this kind of technology, which is de facto the technology Tartaria was using. Right? So, somebody has arrived and they don't want any of that technology out. But the point is that Silbury Hill is a layered. Silbury Hill has layers of crystals and mixed layers of conductive, non-conductive substances,
Yes.
and it's also separated by a level of mica.
Yes.
On multiple layers, going to on a peak, right? Now this, when they were experiencing these beings over at least 10 years, there was a whole dozen of them, and several of them are going to be speaking on the Sunday at the Basis 2026 International Disclosure Conference in Bouverie Hall. The first signs that these beings were going to approach were shadows on the tent. This is very important, because the photographs I'm going to show you are potentially an indication this is happening right now, and they're wanting to communicate, which is why we're doing this show, right? God, I've taken 45 minutes to get to this stage. Jesus, half an hour. Now, the context of this is these guys are having multiple contacts with greys and different types of greys and different types of beings, and they're not coming in by flying saucer. They literally enter your space. And the first signs of this was on the shadows from the trees. So back to trees again. On the tent, it appeared that there was a shadow that looked like an alien face. So, investigating this a couple of days ago was Miriam Yance. Miriam Yance. And when she was there, she took some photographs. And this is a very nice photograph that she took. Now, can you spot anything in there?
Well, in that tree, it looks like a face to me.
Yes,
in the tree,
exactly. That's precisely. Now, the point about this is, that's two trees together, and look at something looking at you.
Wow, look at that.
That's on the ring of Avebury. Now, Chantel, this is just by sheer coincidence, two trees with a couple of branches, one from one tree, one from the other, just happens to look like an alien face looking at you.
Wow.
So this is another photograph. That's what I wanted to print off. This is another photograph of it closer up. We're looking
Wild.
at you. Looking at you. So, guess what? The next day happened. There was a crop circle on the field opposite Silbury Hill. And what did the crop circle look like? I don't have it on me, right? But it's a very, very simple crop circle. It's on one of the tram lines. So somebody has drawn a half circle on a tram line. Now
Wow.
that gives you a C on one side and a C on the other. And in order to preserve the crop, because the farmers are getting whatever. And then the tram line is the portal. You've got two portals. You've got a portal with an entry on one side and an entry on the other. An interdimensional symbol for interdimensional communication. Now, what this guy explained was, I did it. This is that's what we're going to talk about. To get these guys to talk about this is a big deal. They're explaining that the Greys and the other beings would just come out of nowhere. Now, the other little thing was one of the ETs had the head of an octopus, as in one of the characters in Pirates of the Caribbean. Have you seen that film?
Yeah, I have. Wow, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's
So
disgusting.
it's got a beard that looks, but it's
Yes.
actually an octopus head. One of the beings that these people interface with was exactly like as displayed in the film Pirates of the Caribbean.
Wow.
Now, having explained that these are interdimensional beings which just come out of nowhere. Okay? And they go out. One guy's been out looking and hasn't really seen much. And he goes into the tent. And the other guy's putting his boots on and getting ready. Oh, we're just about to see they're coming. We'll be talking to them in a couple of minutes. So he gets up out of the tent, and there's about 12 of these things. Different types and heights of greys, with this guy like a pirate of the Caribbean, like a captain with an octopus head or a squid head. Right? Now, he explained that after blah, 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 I think you need one of these. And one of the guys had something and he handed it, physical contact we're having here, and he handed it to the captain type person, right? The squid head, and blah, 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 blah. Event over, they then fade away. And the next day, they're talking about this and having a chat and all the rest of it. And he says blah blah blah, and he took my my little artifact. That's all in the recording, and took the artifact and blah blah blah. The next thing that happened was the artifact appears and lands beside him, otherwise known as an apport.
A what?
An apport. It's called an apport. You got a lot of that kind of thing happening at Rendlesham Forest. And that is where the so-called alien events of 1977, which nobody talks about, and the other ones of summer 77, and at Rendlesham Forest, and December 1980, only 4 years later. They had similar events, and when I went there in the year 2000, God, this is such a long time. I was there with the British researchers who'd been effectively completely sidelined. Brenda Butler and Peter Parrish. Right. What happens is a little stone materializes out of nowhere and just drops beside me. That's them saying hello. And when you pick up this stone, it's a little stone that's that you'd find in a riverbed. It's all, pretty well softened up and rounded. But when you pick up the stone, it feels as if it's like plasticine. It's a rock, it's a stone. Yet this is something that feels as if you could manipulate it. I then took some pictures of it with my early digital camera, and the camera wouldn't focus on it.
Wow.
This felt warm. So that's an apport, and that's happening at Rendlesham Forest. So here we have similar activity happening right all around Avebury. You're talking about Avebury Stone Circles, Silbury Hill, West Kennet Longbarrow, and nearby they've got Chair Hill. And this is where Julie Phelps, an experiencer from, she's former RAF, she explained that a massive ET craft exists underneath Chair Hill, effectively right on the edge of Avebury and Silbury Hill. And guess what? There's some RAF little huts not doing very much at all. But when me and Julie were driving around the place, you're dealing with an old warehouse. This is in the area of Yatesbury Field. Yatesbury Field is literally, it's an airfield where they trained early the Observer Corps trained early pilots to take pictures, so they could go and fly and take pictures of battlefields and stuff. So they did a lot of training in that area. So there's a bit of an RAF presence there. So after going there for years and years and years, I bring Julie in. She's former RAF. She's engine propulsion unit specialist. Don't mention the pulsed Draco engines that she was involved with on Mars. We won't mention that. We don't want to talk about the pulsed plasma engines, high speed, high velocity warp engines on Mars that she was involved with as a member of the RAF. Don't talk about that. Chantel, I told you not to talk about this.
I'm not going to say
so anyway. So just at the time when we bring her, look, this is where it is, and this is where Avebury is, blah, blah, blah. Guess what's happening in one of this old rundown sort of 1910 former building. Well, it is a building. It's maintained. They're using it. There's an RAF. Now, I don't know the technical name of the flag. It's a triangular flag with a long tail on it like that. And it's got the RAF flag on it with the RAF symbol. Now, I don't know what the name of that is, but they just happen to be flying that in the presence of their ex-RAF lady who'd been on the Draco bases on Mars under her RAF propulsion system designation. She says it's very boring there. Don't talk about Mars. And the fact that Richard C. Hoagland and Mark Carlotta and all those other guys way back in 1976, 78, around that time when the Viking landers happened and they got the face on Mars, and then they could see an area on Mars just beside the face on Mars, which is happens to be a mile long. On Mars they use miles. Isn't that amazing? And that just happens to be an exact replica of Avebury just up the road where these people have met multiple greys over a long period of time. So when Miriam goes there last Thursday to have a look and just happens to get this picture, it just happens to look like a grey. It's purely coincidental. There's nothing strange going on here. It's just a bunch of leaves between two trees which happen to look like an alien face. That's all. There's no way you've got any kind of reality management here or anybody sending a message. Like the shadows of the leaves on the tent that these guys would sleep in, and then they subsequently met a bunch of greys and a Mr. Squidhead and all that. You know, nothing happening here. Just beside, opposite West Kent at Long Barrow. West Kent at Long Barrow, multiple witnesses seeing things coming out of there, like a Merkaba. 2 Merkaba craft energy beings coming out. And that's seen by people who were on top of Silbury Hill, looking at these things coming. And at the base of Silbury Hill, you got these greys doing what they're doing. You know what greys do. They just mess about at the bottom of the hill. And that's another whole story. And then I was speaking to a couple of friends in the collective group that we have here. And they said, oh yeah, that's where we saw the greys and we had experienced there. They just came out of nowhere. And just, you know, this and that. So 4 or 5 people are out saying, oh yeah, Avery, alien greys, interdimensional beings, just in the last couple of weeks, talking about all this stuff. And then you got these gobshites publishing a well-financed book like this. Go and buy this now. Chasing Aliens by Daniel Lavelle. And it's one of these things, and of course they use the joke of cloud looking like a flying saucer. So that's a very well produced piece of how to shoot everything down. And
propaganda.
Why would they go to such an effort to do that?
Yeah.
Rolson was the guy who he wrote the book, The Men Who about goats. They're not shooting at the goats. The men who look at goats.
Men who stare at goats.
The men who stare at goats. Now, I was on his show on time travel. He did a whole thing on late night show, I think from 10 o'clock on Channel 4 in the 1990s, mid-90s that I was on. And with me on that show was Jenny Randalls of the British Unidentified Flying Research Association. And she was there with another guy, and their sole purpose was to make sure I didn't say anything. Even when John actually asked, and Miles, what do you think about this, about that? And before I could get me breath to speak, Jenny Randalls and her other friend from the ministry interrupted, so I couldn't get a word in edgeways, literally. Unlike what we're doing now. So that is evidence as well that Jenny Randalls, the famous author in Britain, was an asset of the MOD or some other British agency or asset. And her job was to make sure people didn't find out about UFOs. And it was on John Rolson's show. And John Rolson did the interview with this guy on Friday. Okay? So that's right up to date with what's going on with interdimensional aliens. Johnston.
Wow. There's a
we don't, and the other, yeah, and going right back to a great researcher here who's been hit hard. A lot of people being hit hard. Is some guy he hates. The point is, Rich Planet, Richard D. Hall. He investigated an alien situation in the middle of World War II in the north of England. And the Americans were coming in, and they were driving through the town, and everybody was seeing the Americans come in and waving and everything else. Behind them, in the back street, there were a bunch of greys turned up, a bunch of aliens turned up. They didn't come in through a flying saucer. They gated in. They came in through some kind of a portal, and a bunch of kids saw them and pursued them and hit them with spades and got rid of them. One of the ETs when the gate collapsed, there was one being left, and Richard D. Hall did a program on that on richplanet.net, and So that's further evidence that these aliens come in, and that's way back in the middle of World War II. And of course, the narrative is, oh, we didn't have anything happening. It only happened in 1947, which was just coincidentally when the CIA was set up. A well-known Germanic organization which is holding on to any disclosure happening at this time. So
it would make sense to me what you're saying if it was also, especially after the Second World War, because we know now that's also when a lot of this grey technology, so to speak, the Operation Paperclip, etc., was activated. And it would make sense as well. And again, it's like what I was saying earlier. It would make sense that the lower vibration, like the lower vibrating ETs, right, would definitely need a portal to come through into the earth realm. And it makes more, and what I can see more and more is they will create a trauma, like war or something, where there's trauma, and then that would very possibly open up these portals. So they look for these traumatic situations. Or obviously, we also hear from a lot of the survivors that in order for portals to be opened up, they've got to have beautiful voices. They've got to be able to sing. They've got to be able to have a real affinity with understanding how energy, sound, and frequency and vibration works, right? So it
are
makes
you
sense.
suggesting that they would use people like that to do popular music and videos and sing to us in relation to some kind of satanic lower frequency cult? And I have no idea why they are releasing these files at the same time as Epstein files are being released, and I'm sure there's none of that being used for distraction or to mislead people.
None of it whatsoever. They would never just mislead us or distract us, Miles. Never. How dare we even think that? Yeah.
Well, I think one of the reasons they're doing this is they want to distract from, and a lot of people are being attacked, and like Tina Bird, who was on your show a few months ago, in hospital in Salisbury, my webmaster, they've killed a number of people, really good people I've known over the years, with a similar kind of technology where the people have a heart attack or brain tumors. So we're dealing with very, very nasty people, and we have to adopt a suitable methodology to I think, as some people would say, punish them. They need punished.
I think people, when their own system starts collapsing in on them, they that's enough punishment. They punish themselves. They experience the worst of the worst. So all we really have to do is ensure that the system collapses in on them. That's really what it is. And by doing that, para close meets practice pronoia. Yes, positive input all the time. And it's very interesting. It really, really, really is interesting what you're saying with what's going on here at the moment. In terms of what we just say. I mean, we saw just the other day at the Met Gala. And you see some of those outfits. I know we did a decode on Wednesday with Jesse, decoding some of those outfits in the Met Gala. I mean, they're telling us in plain sight over and over and over again.
Well, yes, but
who they worship.
This is the thing about the Francis Bacon Society, which I was honoured to be doing their audiovisual stuff and recording their lectures. The detail in the artwork through those era, they had to, for good reasons and bad reasons, depending which side of the fence you're on, but they had to encode very, very detailed, important material. Because if you said it in plain language, the next thing you're doing, either you're either under the guillotine or you're being burned at the stake slowly, like a Roman candle. I didn't realize what a Roman candle meant. It just meant you were tied to it, to the column, and they just lit you, and they pushed you down, over a couple of days as they burned you slowly. I don't know how long you lasted, but they didn't burn you. They just sort of just pushed you down one bit at a time. This is the scale of barbarity that we're dealing with. And when I heard about what's going on the Ukrainian war, that is a genocide of Ukrainians at a profit with the Western European geopolitical complex doing this and smiling about it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think we've got a bit of an uphill struggle. I've just looked at some of these comments. So I hope there's something, or should you be looking at them? Yeah, trees. My friend Miriam Yance, who's about to turn up, she talks to trees, and at one of the bases in Berkshire, I think it's Berkshire, it's on the M3, Farnborough, and that has got Mindley Manor and a few other things like that. A lot of stuff there at the Cody Technology Park, where Marconi Defence was accessed by non-humans, again, coming in through a portal into the drawing office of Marconi Defence. April 1974, they just got access to the drawing office, and they were going through all the special designs and stuff of the technology for Marconi Defence, which freaked out the friggin', oh my God, what's going on here, security people? Now, she was able to interrogate some of the trees, and they were able to tell her about different types of ETs that have been landing and accessing the base from Mindley Manor's lovely parkland area. So if you want to find it's all life is communicating if you just listen.
Exactly.
And once they know that you're listening, they'll talk to you. So maybe these greys that are all turning up and making this is happening right now, and with a crop circle beside it. You know, this is happening right now, right here, right now.
Exactly. In the moment, and all we have to do is be present, because presence is everything. When you have presence, when you're connected, you know what you know, what you know, what you know. No one can ever tell you any different. So there we have it. Thank you, Miles.
Well, I can see you got Anchor Haven there, and she's absolutely brilliant. And Amy's talking about somebody else. Amy Olo, is she somebody? Have you met Julie Anchor Haven, Chantel?
No, I don't know. No,
she's one of the back stalwarts in here in England, and she does a jolly fine job, kicking me up the backside on numerous occasions. Like when I put a post out on Facebook, doing it from the stupid mobile phone. Don't do anything from the mobile phone. You're going to make too many mistakes. That's my excuse. About the Basis Project conference on the 19th, 20th and 21st of June at Bouverie Hall. Tickets available at basistv.org. It was over because I put the dates for May. So she gave me a good kick up the backside, and that's wonderful. And we're going to bring all those people over. The main international stars we're hoping to have Andrea Fouts, but she's had a wonderful time in Sedona and back from the States, and she's got some very, very odd photography of herself at Sedona, where she set her phone to take the picture, and she's standing there, and the picture isn't her; it's her in a wobble, like just different bits of her shifted, and she got several pictures of this. So this is her creating her own reality. She's very positive on that.
Wow.
And there's lots of other people turning up, which is far too many for me to mention right now. It's good to see you. It's good to see you, Chantel.
Good to see you too, Miles. We missed you last week, and I'm very happy that...
The other thing is I'm doing, sorry to interrupt God millions of times. There's a new thing called Food for Thought Radio, and that has been started by the bowler-hatted farmer, and I've been invited to appear on that every Tuesday with my own show from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock on Food for Thought Radio. and they've got a website, Food for Thought Radio. I've said there may be too many F's there, but anyway, don't want to. That's a joke. And so that's a new thing here, based in the UK for farming, but it's Food for Thought.
Yeah.
And so it's a great honour to be asked to them on Tuesdays. And Miriam was on that, and that's a big thing. And thank you very much, Chantel.
Thank you, Miles. Appreciate you being here, and hopefully we'll see you back next week, Monday again. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it's a crazy time, and as I said, I'll see you guys in just under 2 hours from now, back with Guy Anderson. Hopefully my internet will hold up, but I must say for hotspotting on my
and it was Miriam Yance took this picture. Okay, so that's her photograph. Okay, Miriam Yance, Mirjam Yance. She's Dutch, so she spell things differently. You foreigners, okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate you joining me, and I'll see you in about 2 hours. Take good care. God bless you all. Mwah.